introduce to you, oh, sorry, I didn't want to skip too much. We have Taylor back here in the back with the Chamber of Commerce. She is recording this forum tonight, so after you leave, you can tell your friends and family that they can view it on the YouTube channel. You go to YouTube and you search for Carteret County Chamber of Commerce. I believe League of Women Voters is also posting it, which Carol will tell you about. So with that being said, just know that any of your sidebar conversations might get recorded tonight also. Especially if you're sitting by the camera. At this time, I want to introduce to you Carol here. She is the president for the League of Women Voters, and again, we just really appreciate her time and her group being here so that we can put this on for you. She is going to go over what you guys can expect tonight. So thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, it'll also be on our Facebook page too, but I'll put the link to the recording once I get it from Taylor. I'll put it up on our Facebook page, hopefully within 24 hours. But just as a reminder, tonight's forum is a forum, not really a debate, and each candidate will be given 2-minute introduction statements, and then each question that we have they'll have 1 minute each to take the question and answer it. And we also have a timer. Ralph, I'll introduce you now. He's got one pack.
I don't think I need a mic, but I am the rules and regulations guy. My real purpose here, remember, is to thank you for participating. This is what we want to see democracy do, and especially thank the candidates for their interest in our community. But my job tonight is to try to ensure, with your help, that every candidate gets the same opportunity to raise their points and at the same time respect not only the time of the other candidates, but the time of everybody here as well. So the way we do that is very high tech. As Carol mentioned, you each have a 2-minute opening statement and a closing statement, but in between those there will be a series of 1-minute questions that you want to, again, use the time. So as the timing goes along, you will see your 2-minute periods. After the first 60 seconds, I will raise a green paddle, which just says you're doing fine, but just want you to know where you are. When you get down to 30 seconds, you're still doing fine. But it's time to gather your thoughts and get yourself to a conclusion. And when you see this, I think you get the message. Please wrap up. But that being said, everybody in this room, including the League of Women Voters and Chamber of Commerce, is here for your knowledge and comments and observations. So please include your thoughts briefly. I do enjoy getting to growl and a little long, but I know all our fans are always extremely cooperative people. But you will all, if my iPad works correctly here, but thank you all very much. Thank you for joining.
Just, you go to your precinct on election day. Don't And now I'd like to introduce our moderator, Perry Harper. Many of you know Perry. He's Vice President, Workforce Continuing Education at Carteret Community College, where he's been there for 34 years. He was also on our County Board of Education for 8 years, where he served as chair for 3 years. He's also been named a member of the NC IDEA Foundation's North Carolina Black Entrepreneurship Statewide Council in 2020. And Perry also serves as chair of the Carteret County Public School Foundation and is a commissioner on the Beaufort Housing Authority. Let's vote.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone, and thank you for being out tonight. We're going to move swiftly to while we're here to hear from our candidates. Thank all of you for being here tonight, too. Thank you for your willingness to serve your community. I'd like to begin by introducing the candidates, and I'm going to start at the end. Just raise your hand when I call you, so folks will know you. I'm sure they already do, but Jason Hollow, Dwayne McDougall, Chris Plum, Alicia Sanderson, Jay Wooten are all candidates for commissioner seats. And we have 2 candidates that are for mayor seats. Kyle Lagos and Cindy. As you heard, we're going to be giving a 2-minute introduction. We're going to start with that in just a second. I want to remind everyone that on your ballots, when you vote, there will be 2 candidates running for mayor, and you will vote for 1. And there are 5 candidates running for 3 commissioner seats, and you will vote for 3. We're going to start with Jason, and you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the audience, and if you would consider adding 2 or 3 goals or ideas that you want to bring to the town.
So thank you. I'll approach these things with caution, kind of loud. Anyway, but again, my name is Jason Holland. I'm a candidate for commissioner this year. I have had the humble honor of serving as your mayor for the last almost 4 years now. Extremely humble and extremely proud of that. But before I go any further, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It shows that you care. It shows that you love this island as much as I do. I want to thank the League and the Chamber of Commerce for putting this event on. And just as importantly, I want to thank the 6 people on my left. 6, right? Yeah. 6 or 7 total out of roughly 4,000. Not that they care any more or any less, but they are willing to step up and put themselves in front of you all, in front of the whole town, in front of everybody, because they care about the island as much as I do. So a big thanks to them, a big thanks to every commissioner, every mayor that we've ever had in this town. I've been a part of this, or Emerald has been a part of my life for over 20 years now. It's been my full-time home, and where I decided to raise my family for pushing 13. And I've never lived in a place or experienced community anywhere else like I have here. I fell in love with it at first sight. That sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. And I decided that's where I wanted to raise my family. I wanted to bring my wife. My kids were 5 and 7 when we moved here. And I'm going to be severely late for my oldest boy's 20th birthday party tonight. So happy birthday, Jack. Thank you. As far as goals, community, openness, transparency, and working together, no matter what your higher level political beliefs are. We live in paradise, and we are extremely fortunate, and to preserve and protect that for future generations is paramount. And that means we need to listen to each other, we need to work together, and remember that we are one big family. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would pass the mic, Dwayne, we'll hear from you.
Good evening. I am Dwayne McDougall, and after
Cousin Eddie, Christmas Vacation, team fundraiser for Misplaced Mutts. And I thank you for all that support, because we've consistently raised between $12,000 and $15,000 each year. So thank you. Professionally, I am the Director of Military Sales for Kellanova now, the name change. That's your Pringles, your Pop-Tarts, those items. Making sure our soldiers across the world have their food. I manage over 150 people out there. My sales budget is $60 million, and I have a budget of $7.5 million that I have to balance on an annual basis. I'm a member of the Emerald Isle Planning Board, and my husband and I own a local business here. I've been listening and talking to many of you. My initial priorities will be developing more revenue streams so that the tax burden comes off the taxpayers, and pursuing free grant money. We need to do a better job at collaborating at our county, our local, and our state level. The other thing is stormwater management and vegetation. Those two go hand in hand. We need to finish the projects that are on the books, and then we need to educate on how we can mitigate stormwater on our own property, and then we need to enforce the rules on vegetation for everyone equally. And third, long-range planning. We need to plan for our budget, our traffic, our parking. Our current comprehensive plan is from 2017, our economic plan for 2014. Those will be updated during this board's tenure. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Alicia Sanders, and I am running for commissioner again. I was currently sworn in, took my oath in December of 23. Prior to that, I served the town as Parks and Recreation Director from 1989 to 2022. And I am not, as many of you heard me say, I'm not a politician. I'm simply a public servant, and I'm a proven public servant. A lot of the things that you get to enjoy right now, I got to play a small role in making a part of what is integral to many of us in Mobile now. It was a team effort, like all things that are successful. My goal is to establish more collaboration and unity among our existing board, our citizens, and as well as our neighboring communities, because it's going to take all of us to move forward and to be prepared for what's coming our way. I thank you.
Thank you. Jim.
Hi, my name is Jay Wooten. I'm running for re-election for commissioner. It's been an honor to serve you for the last 2 years. I've certainly learned a lot. Came into this position with the best intentions of taking my turn at the wheel, and I have learned so much in these first 2 years that I feel like I have more to contribute and can have more effective contributions to leading this town, specifically maintaining our small town feel and our small town government, having a government that listens to the people that it serves, as well as preserving and protecting what we have here today in the face of certain growth that is coming. As Alicia mentioned, the partnerships with all our state and local neighbors is going to be critical to manage the influx of folks that come with the expansion of I-40
so years, and I've been general manager of Spinnaker's Reach Realty since. But we started going to commissioners' meetings about a year or so ago, because I just wanted to learn more about what's going on in town, how things are working. And so during that time, while we've been attending the meetings, there have been repetitious comments that have been made. One of them is a pretty simple and fun one, is that we need more events around town that will bring us together as a community. The other is communication. There's been a lot of feelings said about the lack of communication when it comes to our ordinances and how they're being applied. But I also would like to take it one step farther and say that during the board meetings, I think that communication amongst our commissioners could be a bit more on the forefront, so we can understand where they're coming from with their votes, and we get a clearer picture about who they all are. And then also, I truly feel like we need to begin planning and looking forward. There's a lot of growth happening across the bridge and in the neighboring communities. So I think we need to start talking about that, learning about it, and what can we do really to prepare and protect the interests of our full-time residents as well as our natural resources. But we do need to make sure that these visitors leave with a great impression of our town. Thank you.
I'm gonna share my mic. Cindy with that.
He didn't want me to spit on that microphone like everybody else. I'm Cindy, new, and I'm running for mayor because I have always been very loud and boastful of what I think needs to happen around here. And lately I've been kind of quiet as far as I've been stuck in the office working on taxes as a CPA for 20-some years, 23 years. Good Lord, that's a long time. The one thing I know my daughter doesn't want to do is, if you're a CPA, those that know it, is there's 4 or 5 seasons, and one of them is tax season, and these days it never ends. But I am proud about my job. I love working with people. I love taking care of my people. I like taking care of my family. My husband builds homes here. My daughter, we moved here when she was in kindergarten, preschool, graduated kindergarten at daycare, has been at White Oak and come up through school. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise kids, like everyone has said. I come from Kinston, not too far away. Been coming here since Atlantic Beach since I was in the 1st grade, so I grew up at Atlantic Beach until I bought my house here in '99. Before I married Mike, the house looked a whole lot different than it does now because we put a little bit of TLC into it. It's the orange house, everybody calls it the fun house. But anyway, I like to say that as a CPA, ethics is a big part of my job, and a lot of people have come across and say everybody's not ethical in this world. I also like to say that I'm the same person with you in your face as I am behind you. I believe listening to people and doing what people say is a good way to be and be straightforward. Sometimes my boss says, the best thing about Cindy is she says what she thinks. The worst thing about Cindy is she says what she thinks, but you always know where I stand on the idea. This town means a lot to me, and I want to continue to do that for you guys. I work as hard for you as I do for my family and all my clients. So thank you.
Thank you all for the wonderful answers. We have had several questions submitted from the community, and Jason, we're going to start with you. The first question is, what is the biggest infrastructure issue facing our city, and how will you address it?
One of the, we'll call the biggest one, that's a tough question and a great question, thank you, as far as infrastructure, is stormwater management and emergency services, along with essential services such as public works and trash. Excuse me. What I have found over the last 4 years to be very, very accurate is to be in tune with the community, what they see, what they perceive that they need, their ideas, but very importantly, being in tune with everyone, that all of our boots on the ground, public works, police, fire, rescue. I formed great relationships with these people over the last 4 years. I trust them, and they show up to work every day, whether they live on the island or not, with the island at the forefront of their attention. So again, open lines of communication between the citizens, the town staff, and the elected officials. Also very, very open communication with our to actually know what makes this town run, know what makes this town tick, and get up and put on their boots every day and make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to clarify, we have some questions that were submitted for everyone to answer, and then we have some specific for particular mayor and then commission. But this question is going to be asked to everyone. So we will move to Mike.
That moves fast.
Well, for infrastructure, I think it's infrastructure. I think our roads really need to be top notch with all these tourists coming in. I can't stress it enough. Like Jay said, we got 2 miles finished and we need to go more. So I believe our roads are our biggest, or one of our biggest issues that we need to maintain.
Thank you. Chris?
So for me, I would have to say that traffic and parking. There's a lot of growth happening out around us. I-42 is going to come to completion, and that was more to keep traffic moving to the ports and Moorhead, but also it now gives an easier way for people to get to the beach. And then there's going to be some development on 58, which is also going to bring people here. So we need to worry about how we're going to route all these people through this town, and then where they're going to park. And part of that parking is what I talked about initially, is finding more revenue streams. Have we tapped every parking that we can to make more money from that, from parking? We need to look into that. And then turning lanes. Wouldn't it be great to have a turning lane at Bogue Inlet? That's probably our biggest congestion point right now, or some type of sign that tells us the parking lot is full, so we don't have people trying to go in there when they don't need to go in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia?
Yes, I would have to agree with Jason on stormwater being one of our largest issues. Everything that Chris as well as Dwayne have said, what Jay commented on our roads, they're all absolutely correct. But we've got to take care of what's right here and the properties that we already have, and protect our taxpayers and their property. And we need to continue to pursue grant opportunities to do that, and continue the public education on ways that people can help themselves do these things. The infrastructure, the preparedness for growth, all of those things are incredibly important. Emergency services and first responders have to be among my top priorities, because we all want to feel protected. We all want to feel like our homes are protected, and those are the things that we want more than anything, as well as maintaining a low tax rate. So those are my goals.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, there are really 3 categories of infrastructure that I think about. The first is first responder, fire, EMS, public safety. That's probably the most critical, make sure, because that's what we all need when we really need somebody, we need them. The next one is all the infrastructure that we all use, and
out to a restaurant. And then also parking within our town roads. There's no parking signs, however, some people are ticketed and some are not, so some consistency there. But I do think stormwater is what I hear most when I'm having these conversations with people.
Thank you. Cindy?
Well, in order to fix anything they've talked about, really we gotta dig into the budget. If we can't get grants, we gotta figure out where we're gonna get the money. So as much money as we all pay in taxes, I like to be able to look and see how we're gonna make all this work. Because everything needs to be fixed, but everything costs money. So that's the big deal for me, is to really to get in there and say, are we really doing what we need to be doing with all our money? Are we using it wisely? That's something that I do with my clients. Where do you want to be when you retire? Things like that. And how can we save in taxes? But to me, it's how can we save here to make the stormwater, the traffic congestion go away? Who can we work with to get the traffic down? The parking, how does that work? Is there enough golf carts on the island? I think so. There's nowhere for everybody to park. Should people, the residents, pay more to park in a license tag? I have a licensed golf cart. I can't park in a golf cart spot if I have a license tag. But the town can't guarantee me a parking space to park in a golf anywhere if I buy a tag. So it's really useless to buy a tag. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Our second question, we will start with this, if you pass it. This is a long question, so I can repeat it here. When the board faces enforcement or legal disputes, what specific criteria would you use to decide whether to pursue action, seek settlement, or avoid litigation altogether? Please give an example of how you have handled a past situation.
Yes, please, do that one more time.
Okay. When the board faces enforcement or legal disputes, what specific criteria would you use to decide whether to pursue action, seek settlement, or avoid litigation altogether? And in addition, please give an example of how you have handled a past situation, if you have.
So we would need to use our resources that we have. So that goes to the town manager, the planning director, our legal resources to look over the situation. I'm guessing that this refers to the UDO. That means somebody broke the law in there. So we need to address the situation. We probably need to go to the site to see what's happened. There's 3 sides to every story, right? It's not just 2. So you need to hear all sides. You need to look at all the evidence. Honestly, I've never faced this situation because I'm a commissioner and I've never had I'm not a commissioner and I haven't had a legal battle that I've had to preside over. And it would also probably flow through the planning board and board of adjustments. So there's a lot of checks and balances to make an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay?
Yes, so the board is a political body, it's not an enforcement body. We have town staff that take care of enforcement. We set the policies, we approve changes to ordinances and those kind of things, but the enforcement decisions should be handled by the professionals. There was a case about a year ago where we were asked to make a decision about enforcement or not enforcement, and I voted no because I'm not an enforcement person, I'm not an expert on it. So I voted to leave it in the hands of the experts. When it comes to litigation, I always want to avoid that. I think the lawyers always win, and we rarely do, and it costs a lot of money. But in some cases, if it's a just cause and we're in the right, then litigation is the way to go, but I think that would be a very rare occurrence.
Thank you. Alicia?
Yes, and I can agree with this, and we have had a situation very similarly. As Jay said, we do rely on staff and the town's legal counsel to advise us on these matters. We do often seek assistance from the leading municipalities and their attorneys. On this one in particular, we did, and the board did vote vote when we were asked to. It did pass. I did vote for that. And it turned out that we should not have voted on that. We should have left that to the planning director as well as management and legal. Obviously, we want to avoid litigation. However, the parties need to be kept informed when there is a settlement being discussed. In this case, both were not informed until it was completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy?
Mediation, I usually just talk to the IRS and they're always right. Not always, but a lot of the time. I guess I'm kind of the comedian in the group, but life's too short to be all serious things. But I'm serious about my work and spirit about this. I have mediated between families. A lot of that happens when someone passes away. You know, we're always going to be friends till somebody passes away and then the money's out there and it's nasty. So I've done a lot of that, and I think communicating between the people. As mayor, we don't have a vote. So to me, it's up to the mayor to talk to each one of the commissioners and work with or the parties involved to see how we can work it out ourselves. Because like you said, lawyers always win. I have lawyer friends, but they're not the ones you go to when you really need something. That's what I can make communication and listen to what they're talking about and try to lead them in the right direction as much as we can.
Next we'll go to Jason.
About four speakers, would you please repeat the question one more time, just to make sure I don't miss on any points that don't want to miss on?
Yes.
Thank you.
When the board faces enforcement or legal disputes, what specific criteria would you use to decide whether to pursue action, seek settlement, or avoid litigation altogether? And please give an example of how you have handled a past situation.
Thank you. When it comes to settlements, legal disputes, litigation, I immediately think I need to speak to my attorney. That's a funny little saying, is like if you're guilty of something, you need an attorney. If you're innocent of something, you really, really need an attorney. That's in jest. But in all seriousness, when there's a potential for a lawsuit, there's a potential for a settlement, there's a potential for mitigation or mediation or anything like that, you need to speak with your attorney. Thank you. I have been a part of a situation like that within the last 12 to 24 months. It's really, really easy when you take elected officials, town staff, outside entities, the list goes on and on and on, and it's very, very easy for a perceived or a real conflict of interest to arise. And in that situation, you need legal help, and you need legal help fast, and you need legal help that is accurate. And just like that situation, I would reach back out to my or our legal team, and I would request assistance right away, and I would request that it would be handled very, very quickly and very, very accurately, so that the right thing is done. Yes, sir. The right thing is done. The right thing is done quickly. The right thing is done fairly, so that we can focus on what we need to focus on as this town as a whole.
Thank you.
Stop me for 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we've all learned that we need to speak to our attorney
get through small disagreements. If you break the law, it's fine to move on. That's it.
Thank you. Our next question. What do you see as Emerald Isle's biggest issue, and how would you propose solving or working on a solution for that issue? And we will start with Alicia. And if you could pass the mic.
Again, I will have to go back to stormwater being our biggest issue. We've got to complete the remaining projects that we have outstanding, continue seeking funding to improve those, continue with the education on native vegetation, as well as what property owners can do themselves to assist in their property, because the amount of impervious surface doesn't seem to be shrinking. So we have to focus on that. It's not going to go away. And all of these things that everyone has brought up is extremely important. The traffic, parking, all of those things are. But again, we've got to focus on taking care of what we have already. Thank you.
Thank you. Kyle?
I think one of our biggest issues right now is, well, that we need to focus on the very first would be to instill trust again within our town government. I've had a lot of folks mention that they just don't know who's voting with who, and the good old boys club, and all kinds of comments like that. So I think really getting down to everyone at least communicating in a sense that we all understand why and who and what we're doing, but reinstilling the confidence in our town government would be the biggest issue I want to focus on.
Thank you. Jay?
Well, this place is super well run and it's beautiful. So the good news is our priorities are kind of long range in their improvements. They're not pressing things that are falling apart. I would tend to go to infrastructure again as the priority in a number of different ways. Stormwater for sure, as I said earlier, public safety, investing in facilities and infrastructure for first responders, as well as access to the beaches. The other thing that's great about this town is how well we're run financially. Laura has, she ticks and ties every penny in the budget. It's extremely well run. So the question becomes, how do we structure the investments that we make in these important priorities going forward over time, so that we spend our money wisely, we use debt where it makes sense, we pay as we go where it makes sense, and we minimize any unnecessary tax increases for the folks that live and work here.
Thank you. Cindy?
I think the biggest issue is, along with some of the others, but the biggest issue to me is traffic in the summertime. I know most of y'all, we go to the grocery store on Thursday, Friday, if we absolutely have to. But going to do something on Saturday is just entirely impossible to do. For those of us that work on Saturdays and have rental property, or they have people that have to take care of things back and forth, it's a nightmare to try to do that and run your business in the time you need to. I would like to see work with other townships to get traffic off in the mornings at the changeover, because the visitors that come here make us have what we have and what we're able to do. So I think we definitely still want to keep the tourism going. So getting people off in the morning makes the people that live here and work here lives better. And getting people on 58 and 24, which is a nightmare. We get them off in the mornings, on in the afternoons in a smooth way, working together with law enforcement, county, sheriff, or whatever, on 24 will make it life easier for everybody.
So in talking to the residents as I've been running my campaign, two things that I hear the most are stormwater
said stormwater, we need to really stay on top of that. I think we should use the UDO to specifically section 6.3.1, become best targeting areas where situations arise. We live on sandbar. We need to get the water off the island as soon as possible. I don't want you to have to get the house by a kayak when we have a natural disaster. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize for that step away. Would you please repeat it? Thank you.
What do you see as Emerald's biggest issue, and how would you propose solving or working on solutions for that issue?
Overall, it's a good question. Traffic, infrastructure, stormwater, they all go hand in hand. We are a very small island that has experienced significant growth. 2021, 2021 during COVID, by numbers, if you go back before that, we experienced 8 to 10 years worth of growth in 2 years as far as the number of full-time residents and the strain and stress that it puts on our infrastructure. And that is not just stormwater, that's not just trash, that is not just public works, that is traffic, that's everything. It is, and that's a very broad sweeping question, but the thing that we all have to do is be open-minded. Again, listen to everyone that lives and visits this town, but also listen to the people that run this town, not mayors and commissioners, not a town manager, the people that actually come to your house when it's on fire, the people that come take you to the hospital when you're sick, people that get your trash off the street. Listening to all those people and having open lines of communication, thank you, and being a full body board that, regardless of personal opinions or beliefs, is willing to listen to everybody and find a solution to manage what we have. We're going to have growth. We have to manage it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is going to start with Chris. What are some things you would do to keep the small town feel of Emerald preserved?
Thank you. I love that question because that's sort of what I'm running on. For Family Beach isn't just my campaign message. It's a reflection of who I am. I want Emerald to look like it looks today, 5, 10 years from now. We need to maintain our small town charm. And I think one of the ways we do that is we need to bring this community together more with our family and our friends. We need more events. We need to showcase this beautiful island, which also brings in revenue for us. We are so lucky to live here, and we need to preserve it. I forget it, like it's us. Do you hear the microphone don't work? We're here like every time. Hello. Okay, it's back. So just to close on what I said, it's about bringing this community back together again and bringing us all together to keep our small town charm and our heritage and keep our beach the way that it is today. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
Thank you. I would say, based on personal experience, like I said, Emerald's been a part of my life and my family's life for over 20 years, and it's been home for almost 13. Yeah, the small town feel, the parade, the fireworks. I hear calls for the fireworks. I hear calls for the beach music festival. We love the parade. I hadn't gotten to experience it from the sideline the last 3 years, thankfully so, or proudly so. But I'm open to all those types of things and being a community. And it doesn't have to be a town-sponsored event. There are committees, there are sub-factions. We can all do those things that bring us together. Community outreach, get a group, go do something good for somebody that needs it or that can't help themselves, do all those things. There are so many things that we can do to keep Emerald a family beach and a small town. We've grown, we're going to continue to grow. We have to manage that growth, but we can't forget, it's been home for 12 years for me, it's been home for 60, 70 for other people, but common thread here. We can't forget that, and we have to bounce ideas off of each other, and we have to continue not letting it become not a family beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've always thought it was a family beach because of the homes that we have here that we rent. So when you rent a home and you these big houses that you rent, you don't bring strangers into this house. So when families come, and I do this too when I go on vacation, you bring your families home and you cook and you entertain and you do things you do with your family because you haven't seen them forever. You see families come here every year, they have a family reunion. 90% of their time is spent in this home, and then they go out and there's others that come along different times and they use the restaurants and stuff. To me, the family feel is the fact that you're here. You're going to have visitors and they're going to go out, they're going to use the restaurants. I'm not exactly sure where somebody feels we've lost the family feel here at this beach. If we have, then I'd like somebody to explain. I feel like this is our family. Our community may not be as close as it could, and I think we should do outside community events for the community. And some of these big events, the community don't go because it's so busy with other people. So the community needs us, have events for just us as residents this time of year to be involved with each other, to learn to know each other, and not so much bringing in the neighbors from the New Bern and Kinston. Have a big event for us.
To me, the hometown feel and small town feel, well, first of all, we're not going to get much bigger, right? So we will always remain a small town, but to create that hometown feel, it makes me feel it in my mind. I imagine more people spending time outside. We already have a great sidewalk and bike path system, so that's checked off the box, but really trying to find more spaces outside for families to gather, more simple parks. They don't have to be playgrounds, but more places for families to linger. And that would be the main thing. I think a senior center would also help that small town feel, so we can have more space for the community to get together. That's not just inside, or not just outside, but rather inside as well when we roll into the winter months.
I don't believe that we've lost the family beach, and there are opportunities that already exist. Many of them are right here under our nose and are begging for volunteers all the time. The Surf Rider Foundation, the Parrothead Club, the Emerald Isle Marathon does amazing things for this community. It brings not only families together and come here to participate, but also those who volunteer. And those are all great things. We can all do things to promote within, among ourselves, and continue to make our beaches and our accesses friendly, and our sounds and our access to those friendly as well, and make sure that we're keeping both of them clean and doing what we can to protect them.
Well, when I have people come visit us, they tell me, I've never seen a bunch of tourists, I've never seen a bunch of people that I come and visit. Y'all are so nice to them. They don't know anybody that's not nice. And it's in their faces and hearts. That's what keeps this town, small town, strong. It's in our hearts. The beaches, the coast is who we are. And I consider all of y'all my neighbors. And I think we can keep the beach clean, and the tourists are going to come, and you keep acting nice, and they're going to come back year after year. Small town charm.
Thank you. Pastor Jay.
Yeah, the small town feel and the character of this town doesn't come from the government or the elected officials. It comes from the people that are out here tonight watching us right now, as well as the folks that are at home watching on YouTube or Facebook. Take the time to be engaged and want to be a part of this. I think for our part, what we can do is remain as accessible as possible and as open-minded as possible. Some of the greatest ideas that I've had over the last 2 years, I can't small town. It's not something that comes down to the government. Things like fireworks, beach music festival, the marathon, all those things create an environment where we can have that small town feel. I think I said earlier, we might be able to do even more with this great facility and the others around it to further foster that small town feel.
Thank you. This question is directed at both of our mayor candidates, and we'll start with Kyle. What qualities do you bring to the position of mayor that are unique to the other candidate? We read again? Okay. What qualities do you bring to the position of mayor that are unique to the other candidate?
Okay, so I had built my career in hospitality, which is forming relationships with people. And I have spent my entire career speaking very clearly and transparently, so everyone understands what to expect. I also have professional experience on the tourism board, so I understand the county as a whole and how Emerald Isle fits within the economy of our county. I also am on the Beach Commission, where I understand in depth the studying and how the funding is, what funding is required and where it comes from to protect the health of our beaches. I also have a really good understanding of the business community and the different industries throughout the county. So I feel like the board experience that I have, as well as my really just natural ability to form relationships with people, is what is important in the role for mayor.
Thank you. Cindy?
I am very vocal, and I would like to be a new voice, a new idea, a new face for the mayor of Emerald Isle, the whole town. I see, the mayors are always the one that are on TV or something when something bad happens, but I like for it to be when the mayor's on the TV or on the radio when something good is happening down here, and be a good face for Emerald Isle for a very long time. That's my goal.
Thank you. This next question is directed to our non-incumbent commissioner candidate. So we'll start with Dwayne, then we'll go to Chris and then Jason. This question is, if you could only achieve one major accomplishment for the town during your term, what would that be, and what is the first step you would take?
I think transparency with your tax dollars would be my goal. I want fiscal responsibility with your money. We can't do anything if we don't have any money. I want to try to bring back some of our events, bring our community together. And I think like supporting events like the 4th of July program, the 4th of July fireworks, or the Beach Music Festival, they bring our community together. It builds pride and attracts visitors. It helps local businesses. And it remains why Emerald Isle is such a small town, a small beach town. We can bring them back together responsibly with community sponsors and help keep planning community sponsors and careful planning to manage this cost and safety.
Thank you. Chris?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. If you could only achieve one major accomplishment for the town during your term, what would that be, and what is the first step you would take?
For me, that would be to secure our future, and the first step would be the long-range planning. We need to get ourselves ready. We need to talk about the budget that we're going to need in the future. We didn't take a tax increase this year. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the near we talked about traffic here a lot. We probably need to do some studies. We need to determine if a roundabout is the right thing, if it's a turning lane. And parking, it's a revenue stream for us. There's more areas that we can get more money from parking. And what are some other options to the parking? Do we have a public transportation system? So just strategic long-term planning so that we are ready to face anything that we have in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
Thank you. It's a really great question and one that you can go on for way longer than on. I would say there's so many different projects, goals, things like that that are measurable, some are immeasurable, but I would say with the two commissioners that remain and 3 out of the 5 of us, a unified board. And by a unified board, I do not mean a 5-0 vote on every single issue that comes up. I mean a board that listens to each other, listens to the community, talks things out, votes on what they think is the right thing to do for our town. Whether it's a 5-0 vote, 3-2 vote, doesn't matter. And then somehow, some way, expressing to the community how we got, or how we or they, or however it shakes out, got to the decision that we do. I think communication is important. A lot of times we react and lead with emotion, but we don't think about the facts and the data that goes into those decisions. And as far as first step, perhaps some kind of adjustment to the agenda, whereas at the end of the meeting or beginning of the meeting, at the end of each session, whether, final comments, if you will, we're not just congratulating the new hire. We're not just, cheering on this or that. We're saying, hey, on item A, B, C, D, this is how we got to where we got. This is why I voted on how we voted, and that's a unified board.
Thank you. Our next question is directed at our two incumbents. Start with Alicia. That's right. Thank you. Please name a specific action that, in hindsight, you would do differently and why.
The specific action that I would do differently and why. I think there's quite a few things that we could have done differently because I think we can always do better. But one that I can do differently, that's probably an opinion. So I don't know that I have a right answer here, but I think that we would taken more time to invest in our employees before we got to the point where we were facing such turnover. And I feel that we have failed on that and that we could have done a much better job in doing so. It wasn't necessarily my decision, but I certainly have the option, at least one voice, to recommend changes like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay?
I would say early on, a couple of appointments, I scanned through the resume, talked to people that knew somebody, but I didn't spend the time to go and talk with every individual candidate every time, and made decisions. And I do that frankly at work all the time. I hire people based on reading their resume and talking to somebody they work with. I feel pretty good about my judgment to hire people. But most recently, I sat down and talked to candidates at length, and I learned from that I should take that time and carve out that time to be able to talk with people at greater length. I think that will get me to a better decision. I feel like maybe I would come to the same decision, but it would be more informed, and it would probably be helpful to that candidate. So that's something I would do differently.
Thank you. Our next questions are directed at all candidates, and we're going to start with Cindy. How would you ensure the spending you vote for is justified to taxpayers?
Well, you can't make everybody happy. So one person will be happy and everybody be wrong. The best way to do or be mad. Somebody's always going to be mad about something. I think the best way to do it is by communicating the truth. By communicating exactly why decisions were made, what comes, just exactly what Jason said as far as communication with the board and transparency. Transparency and communication is a terrible, is bad everywhere. In your job, at your church, at the school, at the thing. Everybody's scared to talk to anybody.
because you're gonna say something wrong and they're not gonna like it. So the best way to really get to people and know people is that everybody communicate, and people don't need to be afraid to say that. So working together and listening and voicing and communicate why decisions were made, and money needs to be spent, and if you're wrong, we need to point out why something was changed, why the budget was moved, or whatever. There has to be understanding with the people that pay the taxes.
Thank you. Alicia?
We currently, I believe we need to go back to our progressive goals list where we plan for each fiscal year out in advance with those goals in mind, with a dollar amount that is projected, realizing that inflation does impact those costs. But when we were doing the progressive goals list, we kept those lists updated with updated costs. The finance director does an amazing job of putting statements out on a monthly basis that anyone in the public can go to the town's website and view. It lists how every dollar is spent and where it came from, where the revenue was generated. And we honestly post the public hearings for the budget. There is ample opportunity for our taxpayers to voice their thoughts, their priorities, and the board listens to that, and we should, that progressive goals should reflect what we've heard as well as the needs.
Thank you. Dwayne?
Well, our prior and current local administrations have done a good job in securing grant funding for the benefit of our lives. But in these uncertain times, federal funding may not be as available. It is important to be careful with your tax dollars. So I think we should include your opinions. And I put my phone number on about everything I pass out. So you all be a part of the spending. That's it.
Thank you. Kyle?
So I think communication is paramount in this topic. Planning ahead and having a list of projects, like Alicia mentioned, it goes back to that long-term planning and those goals. And so as larger issues arise, if we feel if it's important enough that we get another town hall together where residents and taxpayers can come and share their thoughts before we get to the actual vote yes or no for those larger ticket items, I think that would be a very good move forward. But keeping an ongoing list is a very great method and suggestion, but just making sure we
Thank you. Chris?
When it comes to financial decisions, we have to be more transparent and we have to increase our public engagement. So what I would like to propose is that increasing that transparency by hosting public town halls quarterly, where we can update you on our financial updates, upcoming projects, and any Q&A. And why not have a where your tax dollars go in a pictorial or info commercial type thing that we can all understand simplistically. The internet is great, but we have a senior population here. They don't use those tools. We need to figure out how we reach everybody, as well as our youth. We need to get everyone more engaged. And that would be my goal for budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll come this way. Thank you.
I think we do a great job of publishing where we budgeted money and what money gets spent against what was budgeted, and we're pretty good about updating when there's budget amendments that need to happen because we change priorities. I think that is very transparent. But I really want to know if we're spending money wisely. I just go to the grocery store because if we're not started a series of things that we call community conversations, and we call them anything. But I would love to have the opportunity to get all of the commissioners, elected officials together to meet with the community and talk about a wide variety of topics. These candidate forums are amazing, and I love them because I get to meet people I haven't met, and I get great ideas, and we have great exchanges. And the sunshine rule that says you can't have more than two of us in any one place at one time is overly restrictive. So I'd like to plan to get sessions together that overcome that shortcoming.
Thank you, Jason.
So that'll enable if you were to leave real quick before we say, I just don't want
Yes,
a long winded, I don't want to waste any.
how would you ensure that spending that you vote on is justified to taxpayers?
Very, very, very good question. And thankful to go last this time because I was gently reminded of the progressive goals list that we did have, it had short, mid, and long-term goals. Short-term goals in 2025, mid 26, long 27. And goals are measurable. There's a benchmark. Did you make the goal? Did you not? Do you need more of this? We need more of this. Well, how much more? Do you need less of this? How much less? You set a benchmark, you measure it. It either got done or it didn't get done. And we received regular updates. This is 25, this is 26, this is 27. Here's where we are. Here's what we're tracking on it. Did you make the goals? Did you not make the goals? And I agree with candidate McDougal. Federal funding may or may not always be available. That goal list can move. And if federal funding for something wasn't available, or we don't have the money for A, B, or C, we can move the goal. We can adjust the goal up, down, out, either way you want to move it. Even then, we have a measurable, targeted answer for all of you. Why did this happen? We didn't have the money. Where'd the money go? We can explain it. It's measurable, and we can explain it to you all, and then you know where your money went or why we don't have money for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason, we're going to stay with you for the next question. What are your thoughts on protecting our coastal community from the results of climate change, such as flooding and poor water quality?
That's a really great question. Shout out to Boat Banks Water. We have an amazing water supply system. We have quality water. We have a great resource in them as far as coastal. I'm sorry, that question kind of threw me off a little bit there. I apologize.
I'll reread it. So what are your thoughts on protecting our coastal community from the results of climate change, such as flooding and poor water quality?
If we have a significant rain event, which is by our measure 2 inches or more, we're going to have flooding. We're going to have stormwater. So that kind of goes back into proper management of our stormwater runoff, our infiltration pumps, getting the water back off. You can pump all the water off on this island, the whole thing floods, but the water table is going to come back. That is an almost insolvable problem, but our team does a really, really great job of managing that. And as long as we continue to protect our vegetation, make sure that every surface on this island is as impervious as it can be, then we are fighting a good fight, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a tougher question for sure. I think making sure that protecting our natural resources is at least number one or number two for most of the decisions that we make when it comes to our long-range planning is a good effort, and that's where we should start. Obviously, the flooding, if we're talking about flooding from the ocean or the sound and not stormwater, then being sure that we are following the recommendations for the replantings of the natural vegetation and making sure we're using those native plants. That's also something we need to keep in mind and really educate ourselves on. And I need to learn more about that so I can speak about it a little bit more intelligently. But keeping those ideas at the forefront of the decisions we make.
Thank you.
we should use the occupancy tax that we get from 90-day short-term rentals, so that we can get half the tourism development authority, get half goes to the tourism development authority, and half goes to the beach commission. That money helps protect our beaches, re-nourish our beaches without 1 cent to you all.
Thank you. Alicia?
Again, it's, others have noted after an above average rainfall of 2 inches or more, we're going to flood. That's simply a given. And I think that we just continue to try and mitigate that with the potential for impervious surfaces instead of pervious, where we can manage that for public projects and the encouragement of that on local properties. Again, it goes back to education, because that does lead to the stormwater. But with climate change, we have to be even more prepared as homeowners and as infrastructure for the consequences of climate change. And that involves hurricanes, abnormal weather cycles that we don't normally experience. So we've got to be wide open to things that may not even be on our radar yet that we should be looking at. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay?
So climate change is a big issue that, as a small coastal community with our own resources, we're not going to move the needle one way or the other on that. What we can do is participate in regional, state, and even national, federal programs to help, get access to resources from them that can help us, but also importantly for us to be able to provide data about where we live and what is the flooding, what happens when it rains this much. There are federal systems that collect that data, and that information is used to help them plan where do those financial and other resources go. The other side of that is preparedness and the planning and long-range care that we take to make sure that if hurricanes are getting worse, then maybe we need to adjust our plans about when do we bug out of here. Do we need to revisit the UDO? Do we need to revisit what a flooding event is relative to mean sea level? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good, wasn't it?
That's good. Very good. Cindy?
Well, God's in control of a lot of climate. Down here, we live in a little shadow area where things are, so climate change is kind of oblivious to most of us. We just live in a great place. But I would say, as far as stormwater, there's so much about stormwater. As being a wife of a builder, the current building situation and current homeowners out here now have so many rules for their stormwater. Stormwater, it comes to rain on your house, they go in the drains, they go in a big pit big enough for all of us to sit in. So the stormwater issue is what's currently more involved with town and along the road. So why don't we clean out the waterways that we have extension on the island, the ditches and the drains that give places for water to go? There's a huge one in Land's End. There's a huge one all the way down Archer Street from behind Burger John's all the way down to the end. There's full of debris, full of trash, full of roads, because they're maintained by homeowners that don't cut that out ever. So if that had a place cleaned out, water would have a place to go. We'd have a water pump. And that's the way we have to work with different people to make it work. That's an easy way to do that.
Thank you. Chris?
So we all realize that climate change is a global issue, and we all have to do our part here on the island to ensure that our island is protected. But one of the things I want to point out is we do have good partners that are already working with us, like the Shore Protection Office. I met with them. They are constantly looking out for us. Did you know that before a storm, they have measured the beach? They know how much sand we have. They are taking into consideration what's going to happen when that storm hits. They measure again after the storm hits. So they're always forward thinking, so that we're always taking care of and we're protecting our shoreline. I went to a meeting last week where we're talking about dredging on the south side. So just know that there's people above the board that are working on protecting our climate and our coast and our sound.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, we're going is your opinion of the social district that may come back up for vote?
It's a great question. And if you're, well, I'm assuming you're referring to the social district up at the KMU Plaza. I don't foresee it coming back up for a vote. If it does, as far as personal opinion, what I've witnessed as far as business growth in that district in the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, big time parking issues, but they are not going away unless the businesses go away, and I didn't see any, business go away. The biggest issue there is parking. I don't see the perceived detriment of a social district that some may, and I respect your opinion. I see people enjoying themselves and enjoying the island responsibly. I'd be happy to listen to any negative comments, negative feedback, negative data. I don't necessarily have a problem with it myself. It's one of those things, it's kind of happening now. That doesn't make it right or wrong. That doesn't mean that you have to pass it into law or ordinance. But I've witnessed families, people having a really, really great time. It obviously needs more conversation, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Cindy?
I was grateful, not very, but I did share my opinion on Facebook on my page from the beginning. I think it's a great idea, if nothing else, the fact that going from that location and deciding that that area is a social district allows the law officers to concentrate on other things instead of watching people walk or whatever from one place to the other. If they're just going from one restaurant to the store or down to another restaurant for music, whoever's got the best music, I don't see how that affects anybody. Most of the people that come there is no parking. So obviously they have to be the town working with, when we figure out the best way to do the traffic around here, it'll be the best way to make the social district. Because the social district is getting people to walk to where they go, and they walk from one place to the other, and they don't need a vehicle. But that district, if you like what's going on there, partake. If you don't like what's going on there, there's other places that you can go. What's good for one, like I said, somebody's gonna like it, somebody's not gonna like it. Doesn't mean you got to stand there and just complain about it.
Put aside the social district for a minute. Anytime a business, or particularly a group of businesses, come to the town and ask for help, I want to get to, yes, how can we help those businesses? Now, in the matter of the social district particularly, I agree. I've been up there, and it appears to be what goes on today, but what they gave us in the form of a management and maintenance plan had a bunch of things that I had a lot of questions about. Parking's one of them. What about when Fish Hut closes for a couple of months? What happens at that end? So I had a list of, probably 2 or 3 pages long of things that I'd like to talk more about. So I'm not morally opposed to it. Like I said, if we can help the business, I would like to help the business, but it's got to make sense to the town, and it can't have an adverse effect on everybody else in town. And that's a fine line to walk, but that's kind of what we get hired to do.
Personally, I don't have an opinion on this issue because it's not about me. It's about what all of you want. What all of you want. So, in order for me to make an informed decision, I need to talk with all of you. We somehow need to have a public forum where we hear everybody's feedback. And it can't really be opinion-based or feeling-based. It needs to be fact-based, because that's how we need to make our decisions. So, again, I don't have a feeling on this. I'll do what the town tells me they want us to do, and that's how I'll vote on this position. Thank you.
So I think in this particular scenario that we're all addressing from the Candy Plaza, I think in this scenario, not enough information was provided. I think in certain times a social district is acceptable. However, in my mind, I wanted to know more about, will people be drinking in the cars and sitting in a golf cart having a drink, or is it, required they must stay on the sidewalks? How late is yes or no.
I think it should be left up to the people as well. I'd like to see y'all vote on it, or either get town hall, let you know what y'all are thinking about. Safety wise, I've been in office now for 32 years, and I've dealt with a lot of drunk people. But, every time we, you have to, it's a delicate situation. I want to make sure that we're safe, and I think it should be left up to the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. As Jason stated, I don't believe that this issue is going to come back before us. However, I would agree that we did not have enough information at that time, but an even bigger issue was that social media blew this up into an emotional issue instead of a fact-based issue. And that's just not the way that we should approach things. I want to hear what everyone has to say, and I respect everyone's opinion. However, I'm going to try and help a business if we can. That doesn't mean that I would have voted for or for against it. I simply didn't have enough information. I think the business owners have adapted their business plan now, and will move forward in another direction, and I wish them well. But I don't think the town of Emerald Isle should be stepping in where we're not required, and I believe that we all need to be open-minded when we look at situations like this and keep the emotion out of any decision.
Thank you. That is our last question. So now we will transition to your closing statements, and we're going to first hear from our commissioner candidates. We're going to start in reverse order. So Jay, you have 2 minutes. We'll start with you.
All right, thank you. And thank you again, thank you all for coming out. I think we covered a lot of great topics here tonight. I think a couple of my key takeaways.
Okay, should be.
All right. Hey, come on, I was just getting started. A couple of key takeaways. We live in a great place. We have great neighbors. You all are great for coming out here tonight, and everybody that's watching online. There's probably more people watching online than there are here. So we have some small adjustments that we can make to further improve things. I don't think we need any big changes. I think we can build on the successes that we've had over the last 2 years when it's been my privilege to serve you. We can work to restore that small town feel. That's one of the questions. I think the key to that is maintaining very accessible and responsive government. I love the idea of getting together a series of forums where we can get together similar to this, even more casual than this, where we can exchange ideas and have conversations so that we can do a better job of maintaining a pulse, a finger on the pulse of what the community is feeling and thinking. I think that might cut down on some of the social media stuff that gets spun up and a little bit out of control with that. And I've heard some other topics that get wound up. But I think small town government, being responsive to you all who are our bosses, and preserving and protecting what we have here today. It's going to require some thoughtful leadership and some very careful and extensive listening to make sure that we are representatives of you who will be putting us back in office to make these decisions. I don't take that lightly, but I look forward to it because I learned a lot, and I think I've contributed a lot in the last 2 years. I look forward to serving you for 4 more. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia?
Yes, I would like to thank all of you for being here as well. And I'd also like to state that I thank all of the candidates up here tonight for running. I feel very strongly that we all truly, each candidate as well as each one of you, only wants what's best for Emerald Isle. We just have different ideas of that process and what the priorities maybe should be. But all of us up here, I believe, are willing to listen to you, which is the most important part, because you are our bosses, and tell us what you want, and make sure that we're prioritizing those things, that we're enforcing our ordinances, and you should hold us accountable for that. We take an oath, and we have professional ethics that we have to stand by, and keep us accountable, please, because it's everyone's responsibility to put your role into this town as well. And honestly, you're the major stakeholders, each and every one of you, equally, in my opinion.
Thank you. Chris?
So I wanted to share with everybody a little bit about how this all happened for me. So when I was thinking about running for commissioner, I did a lot of research, made a lot of phone calls, late night conversations with my husband. And I just want you to know I made this decision from my heart because I love this town. In this journey, I have met with every department head in this town, from the fire chief to public works, because I wanted to know what they were all about, what their plans are, what they want, what they need. I've met with our county commissioner, our state representative, our shore protection office, the tourism and development authority, and even our partnering city commissioners and mayor, because I wanted to learn everything that I could learn. This is a huge responsibility, and there's a lot more to learn. I bring a unique blend of professional experience and local involvement. I'm going to bring a commitment to collaboration. I believe in being the bridge between different viewpoints and personalities. I know that progress doesn't come from division. It comes from listening, finding common ground, and working together to get things done. That's what this is all about, getting things done for you. I'm committed to listening, learning, and leading with transparency and heart. When I get yes or no, you will know why. My decisions will be made with intent and integrity, so I'm asking for your vote this fall, and I welcome your questions, your ideas, your conversations. Let's work together to keep Emerald Isle the family beach we all love. Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Dwayne?
Hello. I am a 64-year-old man with an 8-year-old daughter trying to raise her in a wonderful place. She was quite up in the 3rd grade. You sit on the front row right here. And as someone who has spent time enjoying our beautiful coast, I'm committed to preserve it for future generations. The coast, I said it before, the coast is who we are. And I want to work to protect the shoreline, preserve our natural resources. I'm here because your voice is my mission. I want to listen to your concerns and together with you make this town an even better place. Thank you for your time. I hope to earn your trust and support. I'm Dwayne McDougall, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm going to keep it short and excuse myself after my comment. I'm going to go home with my son's birthday and my family, but nevertheless, thank you for the last 4 years and the opportunity to serve as your mayor. It has been an absolute pleasure. As a candidate for commissioner, I'm going to underpromise and hopefully I'm definitely going to underpromise and hopefully overdeliver. Before I was elected mayor, I love this town. I was humbled and honored to become your mayor, and I still love this town. Whether or not you award me a seat on this commission, I'm still going to love this town. I was Jason before, I'm Jason now, I'm Jason after. I won't always get it right, but I'll always try. And I'm not blowing smoke, I'm not trying to tell you what I think you want to hear. I'm me, I was me, I'm me now, I'm going to be the same me after this election, win, lose, or draw. I care about and respect you all, I really do, and I appreciate it. I'd love an opportunity to serve as your commissioner, and that's it. Thank you for being here. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. You pass the mic down. Thank you for being here, Jason.
Thank you, I'm so sorry.
Well, happy birthday to your son.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you to the commissioner candidates for your thoughts and your final comments. And now we're going to move to our two mayor. We'll start with Cindy. Yeah.
I'll add a few things. Anyway, I have been here since 2011, bought my house in 99. We've come a long ways here on this island since I was here. Took us about 6 years to get on our feet. From 2008, everything was going to be great, and then we had what I consider the Great Depression of my time, and was about to lose everything. We came down here and was like, you know what, I can do taxes anywhere, you can do construction anywhere. Our twins that graduated high school in 2011, we had one graduated kindergarten in 2011, and somehow or other we had one in 2009 at 43. Our birthday is sitting back over there, but she probably got bored and left. But we came down here with just about nothing except that beach house that I bought in 99, and we have built a huge business. We have built a huge community of friends. We outreach for anything. We do anything for anybody. And if you don't know where I live, you need to get out in the middle of Emerald Isle, because everybody else knows where the fun house is. We're there. We have fun. We enjoy it. We work hard, and we play hard, and we do a lot for this town, and I will continue to do a lot for this town. And I will listen to anybody, and we're going to make this town great. I can work with anybody up here. I can work with people. I've been working with people, and I won't ever remember your name. I won't call your name. It'll be sir, ma'am, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That's the way I was raised. I respect people, and I expect them to respect me the same way. And I want to get our kids on this island involved in things. And the way you get people involved is if you feed them, they will come, and I can cook. Just ask.
Okay, so I feel like Emerald Isle is at a turning point. There's been a lot of so back to that. I feel like Emerald Isle is at a turning point. There's so many more full-time residents than ever before. So it's time that we really take a step back and look and see what is it that you want that's different from really 2017, as I mentioned earlier. We haven't kind of revamped our land use and our ordinances and economic development plans since then. So it's time to take a step back and listen to our new residents. I also think that it's Emerald Isle, the role of the mayor here in Emerald Isle it should be someone who represents all taxpayers. It should be someone who is fair. It should be someone who is forward-thinking and overall loves people and building relationships. I'm really confident that that's 100% me. So I do hope that I can win your vote and help you take care of Emerald Isle, and we can go through this together.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the candidates for participating